Good afternoon, dear students. I am Rajinder Chauhan, a faculty of History and Culture and History Optional. Today, I am going to discuss or give you an overview about our TAKKAR program for the new batch starting, that is January batch. We will be preparing you for 2026. So, if we look at our program called TAKKAR, it is a holistic 360-degree kind of test program where we include tests for prelims, mains, CSET, current affairs and interview. It means it also includes essay. It means as you graduate or gradually you move from one stage to another during your preparation, you are being prepared. The idea is to prepare you from every angle for every stage so that you feel comfortable at every stage. To make your journey smooth, there are 4 phases, and in each phase you will get full support from the institute, and it is a program based on personal mentoring. So, if we look at phase 1, it will include prelims and mains tests. If you look at phase 2, there will be exclusively tests for prelims 2026. Then phase 3, you will have exclusive tests for mains 2026, and then if you qualify mains and get a call for interview, we will support you in the interview guidance program also, where we not only provide you study materials and mock interviews, but also personal mentoring. So, at every stage, and in what you can say, every type of exam, whether you are preparing for prelims, whether you want some inputs on CSET, you want any help on current affairs, how to blend your conventional topics or areas with their dynamic portions, whether you want to have support for mains, so MCQ practice or answer writing for mains or essay writing, we are there always to hold your hand and support you. So, let me give you an overview of this program, the highlights I mean to say. See, when you will be preparing for 2026 prelims and mains, the test starts from 19th June. This program, TAKKAR program, starts from 19th June and it goes up to 30th December 2025. This we call phase 1, where you will have total 20 tests for prelims on weekly basis, and then you will have CSET tests, total 9 on weekly basis. You will have even 6 tests of current affairs, and then you will have mains tests also, total 32 tests of mains examination also will be there. Here you will get evaluation and personal mentoring also. In CSET you get discussion and mentoring. All the tests will be discussed and you will be given proper inputs, right. Same is the case with essay. We will evaluate your essays and provide personal mentoring, that how you can improve in different departments. Then we can say in total in our TAKKAR program there are 157 tests. There are 59 tests related to preliminary exam and CSET tests are separate. There are 28 tests for CSET. For GS mains, we have 44 tests. We will have previous year's questions based 5 tests for you, 21 tests for current affairs and 5 tests of essays. So, it's an elaborate program. That's why I said it is a 360-degree program. Besides that, it also includes this TAKKAR program 9 all India open prelims mock tests, which includes GS1 and CSET both. Then we will have Panch Sutra, where you have, it is all India free prelims mock test series. Here also you get 5 tests. I would suggest that if you have enrolled in this program, please collect your booklet where you get all the information right from the 4 phases, the kind of tests you are going to have, the schedule of the tests, the resources which you can study or refer, and how to prepare. So those inputs are there. This booklet should be there with you. Either you get it in soft form or in what you can say hard form. Printed note booklet you can collect from the reception. See, in second phase, there will be exclusively what you can say tests for prelims, 61 tests, right? And then in phase 3, you will have exclusively tests for mains, and in phase 4, when you qualify all these 3 stages, pre and mains, then you come to interview, you get full support for interview, right? Feel free to ask us questions if you have any regarding any stage of preparation or any tests, right? After this, I come to another part of your preparation. I need to talk about certain aspects, right? See, if you look at the trend of the tests from 2023-24 onwards, we are seeing some changes. Some more noticeable changes occurred in the form of what we can say questions that were asked in history and geography section, where you have to consider the information given in a box and there are columns and rows, and you have to see that in the given rows how information is correctly matched in how many rows. So this was something new, and it was seen that statement 1 and statement 2 are given, whether the statement 2 support to statement 1, that kind of questions were asked in good numbers. So that is some kind of orientation or reorientation in the exam pattern. Right. So in total 6 main types of questions has been seen as far as my subject is concerned, history and culture section, right. So UPSC has displayed tendency in prelims to what you can say ask questions where you have to think and analyze a lot rather than just having very objective kind of choices when you are able to. So you should have read things, you should have conceptual clarity, you should know the facts also, right. So see, if I talk about this salient features of a TAKKAR program, different phases, I have already told you. If there is anything extra to be added, I would say that in phase 1, when we have prelims and mains tests, for your convenience and smooth learning, what we have done, we have divided the test or designed the test at 3 levels. First, both in prelims and mains, you will have some basic tests, then moderate level difficulty tests, and then advanced level tests, so that you prepare step by step without being overwhelmed by the material you are studying or the kind of questions being asked in UPSC. Then as I told you earlier, we will have proper discussion for prelims tests, and individual mentoring will be provided to you when you demand it. So if you need any kind of help or support, you can come to us. If you want subject specific guidance, you can connect with the subject expert or faculty of Lukmaan IAS. For mains, we will provide you the services in the form of your answer sheets evaluation as well as individual mentoring. Again, individual mentoring will be provided on the basis of your demand. If you need guidance, please ask for it, we will support you, right. Then one more suggestion I would like to give is that Lukmaan IAS, when we say it is some kind of 360-degree preparation for the exam, is there to support you in different ways, where not only you get personal mentoring at different stages or for different types of tests, but also you get support in the form of different resources which are free with this, like access to Lukmaan Current Affairs Bulletin, a booklet on current affairs and current developments or issues called Perspective. Then we have video recordings. Every day we discuss questions from the current newspapers and other sources, which we call DTRS. So you have different combinations of online and offline resources available to you at the platform of Lukmaan IAS, which supports your preparation, right? After this, I would like to talk about some other aspects. See, when you get this booklet, please go through it to get an idea about when which test is going to have. I would like to specifically talk about now Civil Services Examination prelims test of 2024. There were some noticeable things and you should be preparing accordingly. Last 2 years, 2023 and 2024, has shown some change in UPSC's approach. So you should, it again highlights the element of uncertainty, and a good candidate should be well prepared for it. So you will see after 2023 shocker, where they asked questions out of the box, in 2024 some relief was provided to the candidates. But what happened? Why we call that there was a relief? Because both GS paper 1 and GS paper 2 of prelims, second paper we call CSET generally, so they were having some kind of difficulty which can classify as moderate, and they were not highly difficult. But at the same time there were some surprising elements this time as well. So UPSC is throwing lot many surprises and we should be prepared for that. When you prepare, I always suggest stick to basics and read the relevant NCERTs or relevant chapters of particular NCERTs thoroughly. And if you have studied well the NCERTs, suggested books which should be limited in number and should be studied again and again. A good revision is always required. And then if you have referred or studied limited but good sources of current affairs, easily in first round of your what you can say attempting the prelims paper, you can get 25-30 questions right. If you get 30 questions right, in the second round you have to see such questions where you can apply your mind or some kind of elimination techniques and get the questions right to reach a score which gives you security that you are qualifying prelims and getting a call for mains. So you should have a proper strategy in place to attempt the question rather than on the spot trying to do certain things which commits you to more than expected errors and your negative marking increases and create a dicey situation, right? Here if you look at the number of questions in 2024 prelims, the number of questions in history has been reduced, and this trend is continuing for last 2 years, but there could be a change anytime, right? Many random questions has been asked in last 2 years. That is something for which a candidate should be prepared but not die for, right? Why? Because you cannot stretch your canvas for your preparation referring n number of sources and then making it unviable, your preparation. So you should identify the sources, stick to them and try to maximize your gains from that available or chosen resources. Sorry. Now we will move further. See, as I told you, some different kind of questions were asked. Statement 1, statement 2, and then another thing in geography, for example, statement 3rd was also given. And then you were asked to see that what is the correct answer based on giving this option. This was something different in 2024. And then these different columns and rows are there and you have to identify how, whether the information in the rows is matched or not. So if you look at nature of questions, in polity we can say they were on the easier side as they were from direct sources. In geography, most of the questions were from NCERT. Mapping questions were from static as well as current developments. Environment and ecology the questions were a bit tougher, and the UPSC continues with the practice of asking unique behavioral characteristics of species, right? In economy, some questions were very basic, like categorization of economic activity, and a good number of questions were asked from the money and banking section. So what does it indicate? That you should refer previous questions and see which are the areas from where questions have been asked recurringly, and which are the areas from where questions have been asked in different or reoriented ways by the UPSC, and where UPSC is throwing surprise. So you can, to a great extent, reduce the element of uncertainty and be prepared in your best form to take the preliminary examination. As far as science and technology is concerned, there were questions that were asked from breakthrough technologies like fuel cell electric vehicles and radioisotope thermoelectric generators. Applied technology based questions were asked in good numbers, in a very tricky manner, from areas related to radars and hydrogel. Then, as far as my particular section, history and art and culture, is concerned, I would say it was a bit on tough side. Some difficult questions were given from ancient and medieval India, and this time you will see, for last many years, the maximum weightage in history and culture section was given to modern Indian history. There were on an average 7 to 8 questions, with maximum questions in modern Indian history coming from Indian national movement. But 2024, what we saw, there were 4 questions each from ancient Indian history and culture, medieval Indian history and culture, more questions from culture kind of areas, and then 4 questions from modern Indian history. And the surprising thing is, no question has been asked from the most important section till now, till 2022, that is Indian national movement. In 2023 and in 2024, they have not asked any question from Indian national movement or freedom struggle. So that is something surprising on the behalf of UPSC. And then there were some miscellaneous and unexpected questions, which we call random questions, which the person who is setting the paper would have picked up from random sources, internet, government ministries or somewhere. And for example, one question was asked about the ranks in defense services and another on the author of the books. So that was surprising. But authors of the books, those things were in news, but this was really some traditional GK kind of questions, right? Overall, we can say that the 2024 paper, GS1 in prelims, might be so to be easy to moderate, but only those candidates could do well who had good understanding of the different subjects or disciplines, and that is based on conceptual clarity, and they should be good at managing their time in the examination. That requires practice. So we suggest strongly that for both prelims MCQs or for mains answer writing or for essay writing, all these areas should be strengthened by the student and they must practice, and this is what TAKKAR test series does to you. This program does to you. It helps you in preparing in every which way, right? After this, let us move forward. As far as the CSET paper is concerned, you will say that as compared to the previous year, the difficulty level was a bit on the lower side. It was not that difficult, but we cannot consider it easy either, because there were questions from different areas like number system, averages, profit and loss, ratio and proportion, etc. And the pattern of asking questions was same in our Panchasutra test series, so we would have been very helpful. Anybody who has taken TAKKAR program from Lukmaan IAS would have done well if they have practiced enough. So we would suggest that always CSET should be taken seriously, even if it is of qualifying nature, because sometimes it really becomes difficult to even qualify it, right? And if you don't qualify, you do not get your GS paper 1 evaluated. Okay. So we can say the kind of questions UPSC is asking, we are also able to help students to prepare on those lines based on our experience and ability to guess that what is the thought process of UPSC based on our understanding of previous questions UPSC is asking, right? So now the thing is, what should be your approach in general for your preparation for the civil services examination? We would say that prepare a proper plan which is practical according to your strengths and weaknesses. You should be in a position to execute it, and there should be some amount of flexibility so that you do not feel guilty if you on particular day miss studying or something, or you attend a function, or you are due to some reason missing the newspaper on particular day. But at the same time, you should have consistency in your preparation, devoting all your energy and time in a focused manner. And we would suggest that if you are taking TAKKAR test series, see the schedule and prepare your preparation, or you can say prepare your schedule accordingly to the study plan. If it matches the schedule of the TAKKAR test series, you will not feel like you are going in an unplanned manner, and you will not have unnecessary difficulty in taking these tests. That is the idea. If you find it difficult to make a proper study plan, again you can come back to us. We will help you in customizing a plan which suits you, right? As I said, always practice MCQs and answers, and this test series and or this program will definitely help you. One more thing is there, your preparation should always be integrated approach based. That is, you should identify the areas which are there in mains, which are there in prelims, and they overlap. So mains come prelims. There are areas which are specifically meant for prelims or mains that you can study in a different manner. Optimization of effort requires that common areas in mains and prelims, especially which carries good weightage in both the levels, you should do very well, prepare them very well, and by December they should be finished. This is how we have designed the phase 1 of our TAKKAR test series, so that you have practiced intensive answer writing also as well as MCQs also. So both at basic, intermediate and advanced level you are tested and prepared for all the GS papers along with the essay paper. So prelims and mains both can be sorted out in phase 1 itself if you make a study plan as per the schedule of the TAKKAR test series and stick to it. Sometimes you might miss a particular test. You should not feel guilty, but you should try to attempt a particular test at home and then see how you have performed. Again, we are saying, don't take CSET preparation lightly. Why? Because if you do not practice CSET enough, it will create an element of insecurity, and if you are insecure, it might hamper your performance. So why not keep pace in all departments of your preparation? Do not compromise anywhere, right? Now we go to the other parts. So now we have given you the book list also. If you want to discuss this, again you can come back us and we can customize the resources according to your needs and suitability. The schedule is also mentioned in this booklet, so go through all those things. Now after talking about your general approach and observations, I would like to specifically come to my section, that is history and culture. So see, since you are going to you are seeking admission and going to prepare for 2026, so I would like to talk about history and culture. What should be the approach for prelims and mains, right? See, first thing is, there are many people who might not be finding history reading interesting. See, you must plan your preparation according to your academic background and interest, and this must always be kept in mind that you should, what you can say, use your aptitude and refine your skills to learn in a manner which benefits you in the exam and in real life as well. You need to cultivate interest. History is an important section both for prelims and mains. So you must understand, because it is important for your exam and therefore to make a career out of this, you cannot ignore this section. If you are naturally interested in subject, very good. If you are not, you can make it interesting. So if people who do not have any background in history and who have less interest in history, they can start from primary school books as a curious child. NCERT has provided books at 6th, 7th, 8th level for ancient, medieval and modern history, where the books are written in a narrative style and they compel the student to pay attention and they are interesting. Then at every stage of reading a book, you should try to ask questions if something is not conceptually clear, and conceptual clarity can be brought by asking questions like, based on this approach, 5 W's and 1 H. Why, what, who, when, how. Why and how are the two most important questions. And if you are not able to find answer to a particular question reading a particular topic, you must always come to the concerned faculty or subject expert. In history books and geography books, there are given enough maps and pictures. Both the subjects cannot be fully prepared without studying the maps. So whatever maps in NCERT or other books are given, study them carefully and integrate them with your, what you can say, textual part, the written part of different chapters. Learn to use acronyms, abbreviations, flow charts and mind maps to make your learning more, what you can say, gainsome, so that you can retain more things on long-term basis in your LTM, long-term memory. And always remember, if a subject you are studying, you have to cultivate interest and you have to give it importance, because it's add value to your learning. It is important for, like my subject history is important and can be helpful in essays and other sections of GS. Whichever discipline you study, there is a historical context to all of them, whether it is economic planning, whether it is disaster management, whether it is security issues, foreign policy, everywhere there is international relations, there is some historical context. So history is important from that point of view. So you must have that interest in this particular subject. Then I time and again say to my students that over a period of time you must sharpen your skills of answer writing, skills of practicing multiple questions and applying elimination techniques, skill of writing answers for mains, using proper facts and figures to defend your arguments, with proper introduction, body, points arranged in a sequence in the body, and then conclusion. Study the right sources. But all this said and done about skill and knowledge, cultivate a good attitude. Attitude defines your personality, and it is overall personality where you have cultivated officer-like qualities will reflect in your approach towards life and the exam as well, in prelims, mains as well as in interview, and that will decide your success. This we call ask principle. So we help you in cultivating yourself on all these three fronts: building your good attitude, the right attitude, cultivating officer-like qualities, right skills, skills of speaking, skills of writing, skills of practicing, qualities which are expected in an officer, and then knowledge. As far as history section is concerned, over the years since 2011-12 to 2024, what do we see? There were asked good number of questions in double digits, 21, 22, 23, that kind of questions. On an average, 15 to 16 questions were asked every year. But in last 2 years, 2023 to 2024, the number of questions has been considerably declined. 13 to 12 questions asked in last 2 years. The general observation is that on an average 16 to 17 questions were asked in last 14 years, and 6 types of questions were asked, which included the new types of questions where statement 1, 2, all these kind of questions have been asked. Then there were questions where you have been asked to see whether information is correctly matched or not in how many rows, right? So 5 to 6 questions has been asked from art and culture section, and you will see in art and culture section many of the questions are related to ancient Indian history or medieval Indian history, those areas. And then remaining questions are from miscellaneous topics areas like say classical dance, which is you study for mains, or what you can say theatre, language and literature. Language and literature are somehow in the form of sources, biographies, etc. is also studied in ancient medieval India. And books are to be known, written by important personalities in modern India also. So you should be very well aware of those things. On an average, 3 to 4 questions have been asked from ancient Indian history and culture section, and 2 to 3 questions from medieval Indian history sections. Modern India carried a lot of weightage, international movement especially. On an average 7 to 8 questions were asked, as I told you, but this seems to be changing over last 2 to 3 years. And you see in last 2 years, the number of questions has decreased and there is no question from national movement. But it does not mean that you should ignore that section. Next year they might ask you a question again from Indian national movement, and overall the weightage from history will increase again. There could be equal weightage given to, roughly equal weightage given to different sections. So the idea is you should remain always well prepared. You should not think that I can take chance and leave this particular area completely. In the initial stages of a preparation, you should have an holistic approach, but you can get selective only in the fag end of your preparation, whether it is prelims exam or mains exam. For mains, you have to be prepared in advance, so you can be selective relatively, but for prelims, you can get selective as it comes closer in time. Because UPSC maintains a certain degree of predictability to prevent senior experienced candidates from gaining advantage, this throws a bigger element of surprise for fresh candidates, the first timers, second timers. One should keep this in mind and prepare accordingly. In the last few years, we have seen that there has been asked random questions from ancient and medieval India, and minimal or no questions asked from freedom struggle. In 2024, I told you already, equal weightage was given to ancient, medieval and modern sections. The idea is that you must always prepare all the areas diligently. There should be integrated approach, mains come free for those areas which are common in prelims and mains for history section, and in final stages of revision you can take the chance of being selective. Since ancient and medieval sections have regained importance, you should pay attention to them also, and more important because the level of difficulty of questions asked is relatively higher as compared to modern India. And from modern India, they are asking more factual questions. For example, they asked a question related to Constituent Assembly, they asked a question related to Government of India Act 1903, Government of India Act 1935. These questions were having facts. At the same time, you should know those facts, and you should know those facts thoroughly. If you do not, you can commit mistake. And one more thing is observed in this case of history and culture. Then on rotational basis, the UPSC keep asking about foreign travelers, scholars, writers and their books, authors in literature. This could be from ancient section, medieval section, and sometimes from modern section also. So you should prepare things accordingly. So if Kalidas has written certain plays as well as poetry, you should know about it. Avigyan Sakuntalam, Meghadutam, these are some creations of Kalidas in classical Sanskrit. There are eminent writers like Bhasha, biographies like what you can say Buddha Charit or what you can say Harsh Charit. You should know about them, they are writers, these kind of things, right? Scholars in Buddhism, Jainism, etc. should be known to you. We see in last 2-3 years, unusual questions has been asked from post-independence period. So this time they asked a question about political parties and their personalities associated with them in the form of a table. And this appears to be a question which is, we cannot classify clearly whether it is a part of political history or polity as such. And it was asked from ancient India, it was asked from NCERT, a book called Indian Politics Since Independence, right. 1 year they asked a question about land reforms and the source was IGNOU. So this is randomness. You cannot prepare everything, but you can try to prepare in as elaborate a manner as possible by using good limited resources but revising them thoroughly. Making notes is an important part, but those notes are useless even if they are good if you are not revising them, you are not reading them again and again. So overall analysis shows that 40 to 50% questions can be solved easily by relying on standard sources like NCERT's Tamil Nadu books or Spectrum as far as history and culture section is concerned. But the questions with higher level difficulty are asked from advanced or random sources. So there is the risk, but you should not worry too much about this because you can't read a number of books. If you are able to attempt a question, get a question correctly right, it's fine. If you are able to get 50% or plus questions right in every section, history, geography, polity, then you are on the right path and you can do well. There might be some areas in which you are very strong, there you will do extraordinarily well, it will increase your score and therefore you will be safe and secure in prelims. Places, books and personalities in news, especially if they are related to history, are important for history section, they should be taken into account, right. Say there is a heritage site in news, UNESCO has recently recognized Garba in its tangible list, has added, it's a dance form from Gujarat, or it has recognized Shanti Niketan or Maidams from Assam, or what you can say the temple complexes of Hoshalas as heritage sites, then you should be aware of those things. And you need not to go anywhere, just refer to Lukman's current affair resources which are available to you freely, right. Some questions you can see, this is sometimes UPSC throws surprise elements. Generally they do not ask much questions from post-Gupta period, but of late they have been asking questions from different dynasties in post-Gupta period or early medieval period and facts related to them. So here you see there is a question where 4 dynasties have been mentioned: Hoshala, Gaidwala, Kakatiya and Yadava. And then you have been asked how many of the above dynasties established their kingdoms in the early 8th century AD. Early 8th century means 700 AD plus, right. None of these dynasties existed at that point of time. That was a period of the fag end of what you can say ancient India. All these dynasties existed in early medieval or came into existence in early medieval period, means in 9th century or later. So the answer becomes none. This question is simple, but if you have ignored this particular area in your preparation, you might not get this question right. That's why we say your preparation in the beginning should be holistic. You should have read everything. You can be selective only at the fag end, right. Then they asked 1 year a question in 2023 or 24 that there are writers and there are authors, this kind of, so you should be well versed in them, how many of them are correctly matched, right. Then this kind of questions have been asked for the first time. Rows and columns are given and you have to identify whether how many the information in how many rows are correctly matched. Here was the question from post-independence phase where parties and leaders are mentioned and you have to see if they are correctly matched or not, how many of them are correctly matched, right. This is the question which I was talking about, Government of India Act, 2 facts are given and you have to see these statements, how many of these statements are correct, right. This is a question related to World Heritage List released by UNESCO, Shanti Niketan, Rani Ki Bhav, Sacred Ensembles, Mahabodhi Temple Complex, all of them are UNESCO heritage sites, but the question is how many of the above properties are included in 2023, that you have to identify. In 2023, 2 were included, that is 1 and 3. So you should be very clear and you should be tracking the current developments properly. So there is no area now in the civil services which we can say purely conventional. There is some element of dynamism or current dimension is there to all the topics. It is a matter of degrees, that how higher are the possibility of asking current topics is more from so you can say geography or economy as compared to history. That's it. Now, I suggest very strongly, especially to freshers, the seniors knows that the syllabus provided by UPSC, whether for preliminary exam or main examination. In preliminary examination, when you study the syllabus, in GS paper 1 they have mentioned history of India and Indian national movement. So it is just broad outline. How will you get to know exactly what is expected by UPSC? What is the pattern, or which are the areas from where recurring questions have been asked? Which are the areas from where surprises are thrown? That you can understand only when you study PYQs. So always keep the previous year's questions with you and study them thoroughly to get clarity over the nature of questions and pattern of the examination. And you will also be able to make out on yourself that UPSC is bringing some elements of change, or the slight change that occurred in the style of GS paper 1 in 2023 or in 2024 can be easily observed, and it highlighted the fact that in prelims time management has become important. Even though there is sufficient time, but some questions will take time to think and get them right, or just because they are troubling you, they will take away your time and you might not even get to know. You might feel it difficult to handle other questions because time is less, and the chances of committing error in known questions could be higher then. So you should learn the importance of time management. This is what 2023 and 2024 question papers are saying to you. History remains an important section which it demands proper knowledge and understanding of key facts, events, dates and personalities. Again, I am saying that don't ignore ancient and medieval India, because questions have been asked and with fair amount of difficulty. So you should be prepared for that. Culture section should also not be ignored. In ancient medieval, cultural aspects should be properly studied. Besides that, miscellaneous areas which might be related to mains or otherwise, like sometimes they might ask you a question about a festival or a fair. So you cannot ignore that. You must frequently they are not asking questions. So once you have read that, if a question comes and if you get it right, you will be happy and it will add to your score, ensuring that you do well in prelims and get a call for mains. As we see in the main examination, weightage of history has reduced at mains level also in last 2-3 years, and they have less tendency to ask questions from post-independence phase. Last 3 years, I think they have not asked any question from post-independence phase. From history, 1 or 2 questions, world history 1 and 2 questions, and more questions now have been asked, 2 to 3 questions every year in last few years from heritage and culture section. Your preparation should be done accordingly after prelims when you are preparing for mains, but before that you should have thoroughly studied all aspects of mains, right? So 5 to 10 questions has been asked since 2013. On an average, 90 marks questions has been asked in last, you can say, 12 years from heritage and culture, modern India and modern world sections. So what should be your approach to prepare GS history when it comes to mains and prelims both? I would say study and understand the syllabus. If you look at the main syllabus, they have mentioned 5 sections in GS paper 1, but they are broadly 3 themes. That is modern world history, modern Indian history and heritage and culture. Heritage and culture, certain areas have overlap with your, what you can say, prelims section, where there are questions recurringly asked from, for example, architecture section, which you study generally in ancient Indian and medieval Indian history. Then sculpture. So ancient medieval Indian history and you are reading, pay important attention, give importance to cultural developments in different periods in ancient and medieval India, and prepare them thoroughly for both prelims and mains. Read suitable books and materials multiple times. If you make notes, it is really good. Notes should be revised. Finally, notes will come handy. And it is a rule that if there is a particular book you are picking up, the thickest book in a particular department, your note should be 1/3 of that, right? To get good insight, prepare an index or list of topics for every section, ancient, medieval, modern, culture, and then do thorough analysis of the syllabus or the areas which are important on the basis of study of previous year's question papers. Where are the overlaps in prelims and mains, that should be known, that we make you understand in our lectures, in our discussions. So we are always there to help you out. So organize different topics and periods and give priority to those areas or themes where questions have been asked regularly, right? So one theme is, for example, religion and philosophy from culture point of view. From ancient Indian history point of view, in that part, Buddhism and Jainism is a recurring important theme. Questions has been asked in prelims or mains every second, third year. So this theme is the most important theme. You should pay attention to them. Mauryan period, Gupta period are some important periods from where art, culture, architecture, such areas, sculpture could be important, and questions can be asked alternatively from such themes from these periods. Okay. Notes, multiple revisions, practice of MCQs for prelims and answers for mains is important to improve your control over your the content, how you are going to use it, how to improve your expression. Without practice, you can't get it. Very few people are naturally born with that ability, or they have developed that ability over time, where they don't need much practice. So for average people, practice is required both for mains and prelims. Many of the experts say that if you have in total what you can say practice 10,000 MCQs for prelims, and if you are a person with an average or above average caliber and your concepts are right, there is no reason, your approach is right, that you will not qualify prelims. You can assure yourself that you are going to qualify prelims because you have practiced enough, right? So again, the TAKKAR program helps you in doing that, and that's why it is very beneficial. Remember this, that questions are becoming more analytical and dynamic both in prelims and mains. Therefore, it is important that you identify the overlaps or interlinkages between the past and the present. You will see there is a phenomena of asking questions where, for example, in mains, you will not be able to clearly demarcate whether this question is purely world history question or modern history question, because there is an overlap. For example, how Nehru's idea of socialism, or what you can say Nehru's idea of planning, which he introduced in India, was influenced by new economic policy. New economic policy was adopted by Lenin during the Russian Revolution to bring stability in the economy, where he adopted a model, mixed model, a kind of compromising capitalism and Marxism, and that inspired Nehru also to adopt a mixed model of economy in our country, having private and public sector, right? So this is how you must be careful. Cold War, it is a post World War II phenomena. The seeds were sown during Russian Revolution itself. You should know about that. So you should find the interlinkages between the past and present, and between the developments in India and the other parts of the world which were going simultaneously and or influenced India. So you should be knowing. So interdisciplinary approach and practical examples are very helpful in writing effective answers. I have seen many students who are preparing genuinely and who succeeded. They have for many topics introductions and conclusions ready, and if there is a twist or change in particular theme and there is a question, they will make a major change only in the body. So you also develop your own techniques and styles, and so that you can create an impression of yourself as a person, that you are genuine, you are original in your thought before the examiner, and do very well in terms of score. Because history is a subject which displays in the Indian context, or as far as Indian civilization is concerned, it has maintained continuity since Indus Valley civilization. There has not been a break where anything was wiped out. Rather, new periods came in, some changes were introduced. So there are elements of continuity and change. For example, people tree is finds expression in the seals of, in the form of images on the seals of Indus Valley civilization. It is considered as an important tree in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Even today we have the belief that we connect and give importance to people tree. Some people connect it with some what you can say religious ideas, but the reason was scientific and it was connected to religion, so that common people would revere this and preserve this tree because it produces oxygen, which is so important for other species to survive, including human beings, right? And then there should be an approach, we call it pest analysis, where you should, when you are studying a topic, see what are the political and administrative aspects, economic aspects related to a particular period, what are the key aspects related to society, economy and religion, society, culture and religion, and then technology and science. These are the four main themes. Then whatever knowledge you have gained, when there is a question, what can be applied from in the context of keeping pest analysis in mind, use it in your answers to make them more logical and relevant. And in mains, it is very important that you maintain your answers, you write in your answers in such a manner that they are simple, clear and precise, to the point. No if and but, no beating around the bush. It is a competitive exam, you are in a competition, so just filling the seats is not going to help. You don't have a scope to fill the seats because now questions are written and space is limited, space is provided in the answer sheets. As far as prelims is concerned, pay attention to these areas. Indus Valley civilization, key themes are what we can say, you should know about important sites, their findings, important features of Indus Valley civilization which makes it an urban civilization. Vedic period, important terminology, religion, what we can say, changes that occurred between, which shows transition from early Vedic period to later Vedic period. Such themes should be given due importance. 16 Mahajanpadas, the important Janpadas, capitals, location, and if they were related to Buddhism and Jainism in some form, you should know about them. Buddhism and Jainism is a very important theme. You should prepare it in holistically for in a mains come pre style. Sangam age, important theme. Mauryas and Guptas are very important. Post-Gupta period, major dynasties are important. When we talk about prelims, medieval Indian history and culture, you should know about major dynasties of early medieval India, their founders, their contributions, their capitals, such information. In last few years, Delhi Sultanate and Mughals, they have not asked much questions. If questions have been asked, they are more related to culture, and more questions of such kind have been asked in mains. So you prepare accordingly. Vijayanagar has found, we can say, importance in prelims, and you should prepare accordingly. In mains also they asked questions. Bhakti and Sufi movement are always, they are related to religion and culture, a pet theme. As far as prelims, modern India is concerned, different movements including Indian national movement were important till 2022. No questions in 2023-24, but again they can ask questions in 2025 or later. So you should prepare accordingly. Sociologists from movements are always important. Frequently questions are asked from this area. The important movements, their founders, their contributions, you should know about them. British policies and administration. So policies related to land revenue, economic policies, administration, how judicial system, judiciary, army, civil service, these institutions developed and contributed or used to control Indians, that should be known. Important governors and viceroys, important developments during their times should be known. Dalhousie, for example, is called the father of or architect of modern India. Why? Some important contributions are made during his time. This was a question in mains. In prelims, they can ask you something about a statement or two statements, three statements are given about doctrine of lapse. Which of them are correct? You should have to identify such questions. Curzon, Ripon, Lytton, Bentinck, these were some important governor generals. Mountbatten, Linlithgow, Erwin, Wavell, they were some important viceroys. You should know about them. Constitutional developments, right from Regulating Act of 1773 up to Government of India Act 1935, important acts and the contents should be known. Indian National Congress sessions 1885 to 1947, important ones, their presidents, and if some important resolutions were passed, they should be known to you. Important committees and commissions related to education, development of education, press, etc., there should or police, those should be known to you, right? Or princely states. So these are the main themes. As far as art and culture is concerned for prelims, I said ancient Indian history, when you are studying, finish the culture portion related to that there only. Same with medieval India. Art forms and architecture are pet themes in prelims and mains, they are mentioned there. So when we say art forms, there are performing arts, there are visual arts, you should be aware of them, right? There are certain areas which overlap with mains, and there are questions asked in mains and prelims both. Those you can cover together, that is art forms and architecture. When we say art forms, it means performing arts and visual arts like dance, drama, music, painting, sculpture. Sculpture has been an important part of architecture in India, especially in ancient times. So you should be paying attention to that. So there is temple architecture, there are other kind of buildings which were constructed. There are, what you can say, when it comes to sculpture and art, there were in post-modern period or pre-modern period or in Gupta periods, different schools of art. So there was Gandhar, Amravati, Mathura, Sarnath schools of art, you should know about them. Language and literature is a pet theme. There has been books, there has been writers, there have been biographies, there has been, what you can say, religious or canonical texts in ancient, medieval and modern times. So ancient and medieval period, you should pay attention to biographies, dramas or plays or poetic collections, biographies or books related to Buddhism, Jainism, Vedic literature, they should be covered over here. Religion and philosophy, the main themes are Buddhism, Jainism, Bhakti, Sufism. These things should be covered. Scientific and technological developments, India is known for these advancements in ancient medieval period. In ancient times, this was more visible. For example, during Gupta period, you see great advancements were made in the areas of mathematics, astronomy. Whatever was known was recorded in the form of books like Charak Samhita, Shushruta Samhita, Aryabhatyam. So such books, such works, scientists, their contributions should be known, right? Sometimes UPSC might ask questions about important festivals and fairs in India, cinema and calendar, but these are not very important themes, but you should know about them. Historical places and World Heritage Sites is an important theme. You should know about the places in news, most significant places, and maps can be very helpful. And heritage sites, particularly the sites and intangible things which have been added by UNESCO in its list in a given year, right? Very important question which students ask and generally gets confused is what to study. See, finally you must read that set of books which makes it easy for you to learn, which you find interesting, which you find you love to read. But there are many options also in history and culture section, so no need to worry. But broadly we can say NCERT books class 6 to 12th should be studied. 11th, 12th books are most important as far as Indian history is concerned. The new books or old books, that is also a question. I would suggest looking at the pattern of the examination, rather than old books, you must read new books. And instead of old NCERT books, you can read Tamil Nadu books right from class 11th to 12th to get a good overview about ancient Indian history, medieval Indian history, modern Indian history, post-independence phase, as well as modern world history, right? Besides that, because modern Indian history is very important both for mains and prelims, integrated approach should be adopted. You should have these two books also, India's Struggle for Independence, Bipin Chandra, or From Plassey to Partition and After, Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. For world history, different books are suggested. I would say Tamil Nadu's book should be read, and then you can read this book, William Woodruff, Concise History of the Modern World. Besides that, class notes you can rely upon. This is it. If you want to don't want to read these books and you are good in grasping things, you can read spectrum for pre and mains both for modern Indian history. What to read specifically according to your level of understanding, your interest, etc. You can be personally mentored. You can come to us. We will sit with you and decide a book list which is most feasible for you and which is most suitable for the preparation of the exam also. Right? After this, before I wind up, I want to tell you very clearly that when you prepare for your exam, we always suggest that make a study plan that is in sync with this TAKKAR schedule. And when it comes specifically for mains and history section, you must identify the areas from which questions has been asked again and which areas are important. For you, we have done this job. In modern Indian history, if you look at the syllabus in GS paper 1, they have mentioned 5 topics. What are these? Broadly, they are Indian culture and heritage, then modern Indian history, freedom struggle, post-independence, consolidation and reorganization, and then modern world history, right? So when modern Indian history is concerned, the syllabus says that the topics which will be covered are from mid-18th century to present times, where significant events, personalities and issues are to be given due importance. Questions have been asked from areas like the Third Battle of Panipat, fragmented polity of the mid-18th century, revolt of 1857 and popular uprisings like peasant or tribal rebellions is an important theme. Social reform movements and lower caste movements is also an important theme. They should be prepared thoroughly. You must prepare them thoroughly. Various national movements, whether it is non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement or quit India movement, they are also important. They should be prepared thoroughly. Sometimes events which were important and made a huge impact in a short period of time, like naval mutiny, should also be known. There has been a tendency of UPSC to ask questions related to different personalities which are important in modern India. Their contributions or important developments of their times should be known. There are important viceroys, there are national leaders like Rabindranath Tagore, significant personalities, Rabindranath Tagore, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Their comparative study, means the thoughts where they were in conflict with each other or where they were having different perspectives. And then Subhash Chandra Bose, Dr. Rajinder Prasad, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, such Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, such personalities you should know about their important contributions, their significant what you can say viewpoints. Then British economic policies is also an important theme. You should know about different systems of land revenue introduced by the Britishers, different stages of colonialism, what policies they adopted that led to deindustrialization, and a theory of drain of wealth emerged. You must be able to connect all those things. How famines also reflected the impact of colonial policies which were exploitative in nature. Questions related to national identity, different voices during the Gandhian phase, or different ideologies like revolutionary nationalism, leftist ideology. You should be knowing about them, how they developed and ran parallel to the Gandhian ideology during the Gandhian phase of freedom movement, right? Separately, even though freedom struggle is part of the modern Indian history, but UPSC seems to be emphasizing this area and therefore mentioning separately freedom struggle in the syllabus in mains GS paper 1, where it says that you should be paying due attention to various stages, important contributors and contributions from different parts of the country. It means you must know the contributions of significant key personalities from different parts of the country. It could be like Raini Gaidinliu in East India, Ghaffar Khan in Northwest India, or C. Rajagopalachari in Southern India, or Gandhi in Western India, even though he was a pan-India figure, or Nehru in Northern India. He also became a pan-India figure that way, right? There were certain areas where revolutionaries were more active, so you should know about them. When we study freedom struggle, we can divide it into 2 broad phases, pre and post 1857. In post 1857, when Congress is formed, you can study the entire thing in 3 key stages or phases, that is moderate, extremist and Gandhian phase. and you should be knowing about the contributions made by different sections or groups of the Indian society, like women's. If there were foreigners also doing something like Annie Besant or CF Andrews, you should know about that also. What was the role of the youth, peasants and tribals. In post-independence phase, you have to pay attention to the major efforts and which were made to overcome different challenges of nation building. How consolidation was done at political, economic and social level. Integration of princely states is one example. Then reorganization was done in different form. For example, linguistic reorganization of states was done. Such themes should be covered. And these are the areas which you should cover, and you should be in a position to, but maximum weightage should be given to freedom struggle and modern history as a whole, from where questions has been asked. In 2020, they asked a question, for example, since the 1920s, the national movement acquired various ideological strands and expanded its social base. Discuss. Various ideological strands means different groups came up with different ideologies. So in 1920s, you see the revolutionary nationalism also picks up pace. In 1920s also came into existence the leftist ideology or trade union movement. So you should be knowing about that and writing about that in such an answer in a compact manner. Then the best way, even though post-independence phase they have not been asking questions, but if you want to make your preparation compact, what you can do, you can simply pick up important prime ministers and important developments during their times. That makes your task easy to prepare this area. Important achievements, failures and key developments of their times you should know, with maximum weightage given to what you can say the first 2-3 decades after independence. Nehruvian era, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi. Right, this is how you should go about your preparation. When it comes to modern world history, one theme, every year UPSC has a tendency to ask question from some kind of revolution. So it could be Industrial Revolution one year, American Revolution another year, or French Revolution. Then the other, so all the revolutions should be thoroughly prepared. And then Russian Revolution, they have not asked question, they can ask a question. There is a tendency to ask repeatedly questions from the theme called imperialism, colonialism, decolonization in Asia and Africa should be studied along with it. So Asia and Africa, imperialism, colonialism and decolonization. These things should be studied together, and you can expect a question from this area every second, third or fourth year. Right. So revolution, imperialism, colonialism and decolonization are two very important themes. Besides that, there are other topics also, but questions has not been asked from there. For example, withdrawal of boundaries, there is a Napoleonic era, rise of nationalism, unification of Germany, Italy, American Civil War. These are the topics which you should know about. World wars and the period in between should be also studied well. You should know about World War I and II. Questions has been asked from these areas, right? Then Russian Revolution, Great Depression and New Deal, rise of fascism and Nazism, different political philosophies like capitalism, socialism, communism, Marxism, they should be known. And then they can sometimes ask questions out of the blue. If you have studied the above topics well, you will be able to answer them. For example, they asked one year questions about the contribution of railways in the context of war and Indian history. So you will see railways played an important role in expansion of British Empire and colonialism. Railways helped countries like Germany and Italy to modernize themselves and militarily empower themselves. So when you study these topics and railways are mentioned there, or any such thing is mentioned which is common, you should notice that, right? There was a question like, for example, from revolutions, they might not ask a question related to particular revolution. Rather, there could be a question like this: explain how the foundation of the modern world was laid down by American and French revolutions. You should know about the important ideas and thoughts that came up that influenced different continents and the world as a whole, even India. So this is how you can frame a good answer. This is how you should know what is modern also, right? What makes the world modern? As far as art and culture is concerned, see, you should prepare art and culture in an integrated manner. Modern world history is part of mains only. Modern Indian history is part of mains and prelims also, so there also integrated approach will come. Indian art and culture and heritage, they have mentioned in syllabus salient aspects of art forms. Art forms, there are performing arts, there are visual arts, and then literature, architecture from ancient to modern times. Even though questions has been asked only from ancient and medieval sections, but they have mentioned modern times. Some year they can ask questions related to architecture, painting, etc. from modern times also, right? So you should be prepared for that. So what are the main themes? Indian dance forms, classical, folk and modern, Indian theatre, classical, folk and modern, Indian music, classical, in which we have Hindustani and Carnatic, and folk and religious music. Indian paintings and sculpture, this is a very important theme. Questions are asked from sculpture and architecture again and again. Language and literature is also a very important theme, right? So, ancient, medieval, modern, all three theme areas should be covered. So, in paintings and sculpture, look at the religious and mythological aspects, Gandhara school or other schools of art, medieval temples and social life. Then temples, different styles of temple architecture should be known, whether it is Nagar, Dravida or Visara or regional styles, right? That will be part of basically architecture. So you should know about town planning of its different characteristics when it comes to industrial civilization, stupa art, chola architecture, rock cut architecture, those things you should know. And temple architecture is also part of that. Then role of different dynasties, like in Pallavas and Cholas in Dravida architecture, or Guptas and their successors in Nagar architecture. Role of what you can say Vijayanagar in developing Visara architecture, which specifically is called Pravada style of temple architecture. That should be known to you. Literature is a very pet theme with UPSC in mains. Sculpture, architecture and literature are three areas from where, and then religion and philosophy from where questions have been asked. Accordingly, you should prepare yourself. So sources of history, they have been asking questions: Sangam literature, Persian literature, foreign accounts, Bhakti literature, Telugu literature, especially Krishnadev Rai. They have asked questions from these areas. In religion and philosophy, there has been asked questions related to Buddhism and the different dynasties, how they contributed in that. Bhakti and Sufi movement, Vedic religion and society. Science and technology, there has been education or some other themes from where questions could be asked. One year they have asked a question that in modern sense, Nalanda is more of a university than Takshila. You have to give your opinion. Then sometimes general nature questions has been asked, right? That Indian civilization has maintained continuity since ancient times. You have to write about it. Contribution of Guptas and Cholas in the area of cultural development. Modern technology, what technologies could be used for cultural preservation. Indentured labor, how during British times became a messenger of culture in wherever it settled, the Indian people. For example, Caribbean, South Africa. Then you should know about India's geography and its importance in shaping the history of India. Coins, how they play an important role. They are a source of, but they are source of history. They are also an example of sculpture and art. So what is their significance? Such are the themes from where questions have been asked. These are the miscellaneous areas. So your preparation should be holistic from the very beginning, right? So this is all from my side. Now, before I wind up, I would like to sum up that I was trying to help you out in your preparation as a part of your, what we can say, TAKKAR program. If you join the TAKKAR program with us, we will prepare you holistically. We will personally mentor you at every stage in all kinds of tests, whether the tests are there for prelims, mains, or you are appearing in interview. And there are 4 phases in our program, as I told you earlier. The first phase will focus from January 2025 onwards up to December 2025 on tests which are related to preliminary stage and mains stage. There will be tests for essays also. In the second stage, we will give you exclusive tests for prelims, CSET included. In third phase, we will give you tests exclusively for mains, and then will come interview guidance program. We will prepare you for 2026, whether it is prelims, whether it is mains, whether it is what you can say interview, right? At every stage, we are available to you. You will get discussions for prelims, you will get your answer sheets evaluated, your essays evaluated for mains, you will get personal support for interview. You have any difficulty, come to us, the subject experts, they will guide you, right? Whether you have to make a study plan, whether you have difficulties in prelims, any section, mains, any section, essay, interview, all your preparation will be supported by free resources which Lukmaan IAS Study Circle provides to you, like the magazine Perspective on Current Affairs or Lukmaan Bulletin, which we have recently started. This is a program where we discuss important topics or issues which are in debate or which could be relevant for your examination. Then we also provide you support in the form of daily videos where we discuss possible questions from current issues like DTRS. So you have a good amount or rich pool of resources provided to you by Lukmaan IAS in the form of online and offline resources. With this, I will wind up. Thank you so much.